Dear all, today we will be learning about two spectroscopic method. One is UV visible and the other one is fluorescent spectroscopy. The reason why we are learning here these two spectroscopic techniques in biosensors is that the same principle is being used for the detection of certain ions after the reaction. In case of enzyme substrate reaction, what we saw in the previous classes, the resultant is usually a colorant what you get, and the number of molecules that is being developed after the reaction can also be estimated using this principle. So looking at the spectroscopic, what is spectroscopy? It's just a branch of science that deals with the interaction of the light, because here the measurement of these absorption mechanism is mainly based upon the light mechanism. So that's why it is called as a spectroscopy. So if you look at this white light, if it passed through a prism, it like varies in different wavelength. That is, the white light will get dispersed into different light. The light rays that comes out of the white light is VIBGYOR, or violet from red. Above the red region, the region is called as infrared region, and below the violet it's called as a ultraviolet region. So only the visible region is VIBGYOR. So this UV visible spectroscopy works from the range of UV, that is around 200 nanometer, to the red, that is 780 nanometer. So let us look at the principle what the spectroscopy work. So this works on the principle of this atoms or molecules when it comes in contact with a light. Based upon the intensity of this light absorbed, you can measure the concentration. So this works on this simple principle. So if the reaction is a color reaction, we usually go with the visible wavelength, that is starting from 400 to 780. If the reaction is a colorless reaction, you will go mainly with the UV radiations. Right? So let us look at the principle in which this works. So this works on the principle of Beer-Lambert's law, where the absorbance is directly proportional to the concentration. So based upon this light that is being incident on this reaction, if the absorption is happening, then it will be directly proportional to the concentration. So other things are the proportionality is being removed with respect to the constant and the path length. So these E and B are the path length. B is a path length and E is the constant of it, where C is the directly the concentration you can get. So based upon the absorption of light, you can determine the concentration of the molecules that are being interacting with each other. So the UV radiation, as I told you, it ranges from uh, somewhere around 10 nanometer to 400 nanometer. Usually the spectrophotometer, what is being designed, is from 200 nanometer to 400 nanometer, where above 400 nanometer it is called as visible radiation, and till 800 nanometer the visible radiation will be calibrated or will be configured in a UV visible spectrophotometer. So the electronic transactions what will happen between the molecules in a sensor can easily be studied with the light interactions. So this is a schematic diagram of a UV visible spectrophotometer, how what we use in the lab. It has two different setting. That is, one is the cuvette setting, where the molecules are placed on the cuvette and then the light will be incident on it. So there are two light sources, as UV range as well as the visible range, and these light sources will be passed to the cuvette from a particular distance, and there is a grating. This grating will actually allow the molecules to hit on the cuvette, and there is a mirror just to deviate the ray light, and there are two different cuvettes that will be kept. One is the reference cuvette, the other one is a sample cuvette. So this is a source of light. So from the mirror, the light is being reflected, falls on a grating, and only that particular light which has to be passed. That is, if you set the nanometer to 400, you require only violet light. If you set the nanometer to 600, it will be only orange light that is being falling on it. So all this will hit on the grating and will fall on the cuvette, and then you can measure how much of reaction has been happened on it. So here in the UV visible spectrophotometer, you will be taking the radiation readings with respect to some bigger volume, whereas if the same principle is being employed on a sensor, you can measure with respect to the particular color reaction that is being happening only on the basis of the light absorption. So the applications are many. So you can observe the positive reaction, negative reaction, if there is a impurities present, what are the unwanted ionic reaction. So suppose the positive reaction is blue and sometimes you would have get some other reaction, you can always introspect why the other color is being present. So for all this, UV visible spectrophotometer can be used for the measurement. The next principle what we'll be learning is about the fluorescence spectrophotometer. Here the fluorimeter, it is called as a fluorescence spectrophotometer or fluorimeter. The principle is fluorescence. So fluorescence is nothing but what is the energy that is being emitted by the molecule. So this spectrophotometer mainly works on the principle of emission. So if you look at the luminescence, there are two types. The one is fluorescence and the other one is phosphorescence. So fluorescence means the principle is like the molecules at the ground state, when it is being incident, that is when the light radiations are incident on them, they go for a higher state, and from the higher state they come back to the lower state. So when they come back to the lower state, the light will be emitted in the form of fluorescence, so or phosphorescence. But here in the fluorescence spectrophotometer, only fluorescence is being found out. So here, so this is a diagrammatic representation of that. The molecules will be in the ground state, and when the light is incident on them, they absorb some radiation, they go to the higher state, and when they return back to the lower state, they will be emitted in the form of fluorescence. So let us see, directly go to the spectrophotometer, like how it works, or the fluorescent meter. So based upon the wavelength, that is based upon the positive reaction that has absorbed the radiation, the emission, that the emission what comes from the positive reaction and the negative reaction will be different. So that is why there is a phase shift in this. So there's a phase shift, that the phase shift can be estimated, and the difference of the concentration which the reaction has gone for a positive as well as the reaction which has gone to negative can be estimated, and you can find out how much of the radiation is being emitted. So this also works on the Beers-Lambert's law. All the spectrophotometer works on the Beers-Lambert law. That is, the quantity of the radiation that is absorbing is directly proportional to the concentration. And if you look at the biological molecules, these molecules are able to be used as a fluorophores. That is, these are able to emit some radiations, and when they are being, this fluorophores, when they are being attached to some dyes, the fluorescence property of them will be enhanced. So this will be noted with respect to the fluorescence spectrophotometer. So there are a lot of dyes that can be tagged with this biomolecules. So especially when we are using in a sensor, biomolecules like enzymes can be used, amino acids can be used, proteins can be used, lipids can be used. So along with them, if you tag a dye, so whichever the positive reaction is there, that can be estimated very easily using this kind of principles. So this fluorescence detection, as the fluorescence light are always in the visible range, so the fluorescence will be determined only in the visible range of the wavelength. And we will directly go into the instrumentation. So we have to, when we are using in a sensitive device like a biosensor, more of noises should be taken care. And if there is a cross reaction and because of that the fluorescence is being happening, even that has to be taken in care when you are checking with the biosensor. So in the instrumentation we have all these. That is, this is what I am talking is a bigger instrumentation, just like your UV visible spectrophotometer. This is a bigger instrument where you have the volume, sample volume as more. But in your syllabus, why this is being placed is that when you are using the same principle in a biosensor, we will be using the same principle, same radiation. Only thing is the device is only small. So that is how it is being introduced in your syllabus. So if you look at the fluorescence instrumentation, there's excitation source, there's a monochromator, there's a cuvette, and there's an emission monochromator and a detector too. So this is a basic schematic diagram of the instrumentation. There is a xenon lamp that is being used, and there is a grating, like whatever nanometer you want to set, you will set, and through the grating, when the light is being passed, that will be reflected by the mirror and it will get incident on the detector. So here you have the sample cuvette that is being placed. So the one part of the radiation goes to the sample cuvette, and then again it goes to the photomultiplier tube. That is when your radiation that is being emitted from the sample is less. You need a amplifier to amplify the signal what you get from the light. So there's a photomultiplier tube which will multiply the signal to multiple folds, and then the sample detector will be detector. So the excitation source can be anything like laser, monochromatic light are usually used for exciting because the molecules are very specific to certain wavelength for their excitement. Excitement will happen only for the fluorochromes or fluorophores which are tagged with some dye molecule. So when this dye molecules absorbs this monochromatic light, they go to a higher state, and when they return back to the lower state, they will be emitting the radiation with a different wavelength, right? So xenon is being used for the exciting purpose, and there is a cuvette which will have the molecules in it for the determination of the concentration, and there's a photomultiplier tube which is mostly used as an amplifier, especially for the light, and there's a photomultiplier tube which will multiply it into multiple folds, and then uh, you can detect it using a proper detector. So this is mainly with respect to the fluorescence. So in the fluorescence, what you should take care is the principle of the fluorescence, which is like the molecules absorb the light at one particular wavelength, get excited, goes to the higher energy state, and they will return to the lower energy state by emitting the radiation of a different wavelength. So that is a fluorescence, and phosphorescence is also a similar effect where the molecules can emit the radiation at a still lower bandwidth. Okay, so but here in the fluorescence spectrophotometer, you will be taking care about only the fluorescence, and the instrumentation is all about this. There is a light source. This light source will be incident on the molecule, and the molecule are usually protein like biomolecules, which are DNA, protein, lipids, which are tagged with some fluorescent dyes, and with this molecules are incident on that, they get excited to a higher state, and when they return back to the lower state, they will be emitting the radiation of a different wavelength. So that's what will happen. And so this principle will be widely used in a sensor, and accordingly to check the fluorescence, you have a specific detector to check that, and the fluorescence measurement will be taken care or taken in a different spectrums, and then the sensitivity of the molecule is also high in the fluorescence spectrophotometer. Precision is high, specificity is good, and the range of the applications are more in this domain. And only one disadvantage is that you cannot identify the molecules here. Only the known molecule, known reaction can be estimated. Whereas in biosensor, the dye what you tag is also known, the molecule that is being placed is also known, what wavelength they will emit the radiation is also known. So it is very easy to detect the molecules. And one more disadvantage is that is if there is a cross reaction or if there is a wrong reaction, what happens is that it may lead into false results. So that has to be taken care, or this principle is absolutely good for using in the biosensor. So especially the sensors which are being used in the environmental monitoring for specific pesticides or certain fertilizers, this kind of fluorescent dyes will be placed on the sensor, and you can easily estimate what's the concentration of a particular toxic substance in the soil or even in the crops. So agriculture field, it is being used very well, and even in the uh, pharmaceutical field where you want to detect certain molecules, these kind of reactions are being used, and they can be easily tagged with any biomolecules. And like yes, pharmacy, I told you, in medicine, like some of the medical treatments, they to enhance the CT image or MRI image, they do inject some fluorescent molecules into the blood or into some organs to detect the to like improve the clarity of the image. In certain cases, if the molecules are staying back in the blood for longer time, you can even estimate what is the concentration of the molecules that are being stayed back in your body. So for all this application in medicine, pharmacy, it is being widely used. And I hope this class was useful for you students, and if any doubts, you can contact me. And with this, I would like to end my class. Thank you all.